What are those postcodes that you'd sort of recommend for out-of-town investors to begin investing in Liverpool?
To start investing, the first thing we say is probably don't get yourself a HMO. Like, start with a single buy-to-let, cut your teeth on something like that. Apart from anything, the lenders don't really like people who don't have experience, prior experience. The single buy-to-lets, I'm just writing a blog actually on this very thing. The safest postcode we always say is L13. So L13 is split into Old Swan, Tuebrook and Stonycroft. It also touches on Clubmore, but that's not really an area that we talk about that much. And it's just because it does everything that it needs to. It's got a high street, it's got, access to the motorways, it's got access to the city centre, it's got a Tesco, a Costa, an Asda, all of the amenities that kind of working families need. And your working families are your bread and butter in Liverpool. They're not going to move out of your houses anytime soon. They're going to be long-term tenants. Once they're settled in an area and they like the house, they tend to stay, 5, 6 years or more. Some of them stay even longer. And you've got a pretty safe investment in that way. And we've seen slow capital growth. You're not going to get the spikes like in L7. You're not going to make a fortune in 2 years. But that's a better thing, because then if we do have any crashes or corrections, you're not going to lose a fortune either. It's going to be this kind of plodding along nice and steady. And the 3 beds there now, some of them are valuing up at kind of 120 to 140. If you'd have spoken to me 2018, maybe they were valuing up at about 95 to 100. So we're getting this slow increase. It could be some investment, but we're also very aware that there's a huge demand from rental. And when there's a demand for people to rent, then the property prices naturally become, a little bit higher because it's a more desirable area. And there's some good schools. There's a few good schools in the area as well. So L13 is one of my favourites. I think it's safe. You don't really get much antisocial behaviour unless you start moving towards the part of Tuebrook where it kind of hits L6. So if you stay close to Old Swan, around that Tesco and Costa and things, you're pretty safe. We like L8 as well, Toxteth. L8 is a good little postcode. Most parts of L8 are okay, but you don't want to go too close to Lodge Lane over that side. Again, you can, antisocial behaviour and a few things might mean that you've got a higher turnover in tenants. So we, like some of our friends have got properties around there, but they do kind of churn through the tenant every 12 months or so instead of the 3 or 4 years that you're looking for. But they're my 2 little starting points for most people, because can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
Well, unless you pay 400 grand or something.
One thing that I felt also found really interesting, which I've learned over time, is it's not the actual area that's important as an investor, it's the actual road. And of course, L13 and L8 are fantastic areas generally, but you are going to get sort of some bad eggs, which I've sort of learned over time. So what would you say are like your top 3 roads for, let's say top 3 roads for L13? Let's start there.
Okay, so if I had the choice to kind of start again, and if I was doing it and thinking as a new investor, if you're looking at on Google Maps, if you're looking at where the Tesco is in the Costa, and you've got Prescott Road running across, which is like the high street. On the left-hand side, you've got a number of small roads that run off. So you've got like the 2-bed terraces. Sunbeam is the one where quite a lot of houses seem to come up for sale. So you probably remember that name. I got bitten by a dog on Sunbeam Road when I was about 5. So it sticks in my memory. But those little 2-bed terraces are perfect now for those kinds of young sharers, young couples. We've got kind of the rental prices are nudging up and nudging up. So all of those along there, we've got Fitzgerald, Sunbeam, there's a number of them along that side. If you're looking at where the shops are, if you stay on that side of the roads, they're a little bit more desirable. So like the likes of Fitzgerald and things, the houses are a bit bigger. So on the opposite side, they were always a little bit tattier, like a few more tenants rather than owner occupiers historically. So this kind of side is the one to go for. But we've just let a house in Gidlow Road, which is actually on the right-hand side. So there's a few houses along there. We've got Gidlow and Herrick and those, and the little 2-bed terraces. We've just let one of those at 525, and I was a bit shocked that it went so quickly at 525. I did think maybe we were a bit cheeky with the asking price. We got a lot of interest, but the house was completely refurbished as well. So the type of tenants they're looking for, you know, ready to move in. They're not settling because it's only a 2-bed house. They just want somewhere really nice to live. So any of those ones along that side as well are fine. There's, you know, the little 2-bed terraces you can still pick up for maybe up to 60,000 in a poor state of repair. If you want to do a full refurb, they might be up to 85-ish or something if you pick them up on the market and they're ready to go. But along that stretch, that's the one to look for really off Prescott Road. It's a nice little area.